million true difference if it was somebody else versus us. And that's a target for us. But more importantly now, you've set the real target of rate parity. Now, rate parity is, we're getting closer, and what's amazing is as you watch going out years, FP&L very well may pass us. We don't know if they depend on if they build the nuclear plants or not. But if you look at the enterprise contributions, you notice it's gone down pretty substantially. What's the total number there, Barb? My eyes aren't that good. It's gone down almost $700,000.
$929,000.
Of that, we were able to kind of wheedle back and reduce back as part of this process of weaning the general fund off the electric fund by over $500,000, which coincidentally is a little more than what we're seeing in the increased revenue in the property valuations. So it's almost, we're not growing the organization. We're trying to absorb all these costs for pensions and for health care and all the things. It's still try to field the people that you want us to field to do the services, and we're ratcheting down the dependency. So it's not like there's this newfound money that's springing out of the ground. I don't want y'all to, and I said this before, we're climbing out of a hole, but all the indicators are doing the right things as we pursue this. The other thing to remember is y'all have taken a very market approach to looking at the electric utility. You are considering what it would take to sell openly, and the EOB is working on this. At the same time, you're looking at potentially building a new power plant, along with the contract and other things. We're talking about photovoltaic and a lot of things where potentially, if we do keep the electric utility, it may be that incident in a lot of ways for us. So there's a lot of good things, and that's a huge story that we don't necessarily tell as well as we should. You know, people argue about the rates. There's a lot of moving parts and things, and cool things are happening. And staff, I give a lot of credit to staff. They're making this machine work, and all these balancing parts that we're trying to make move in conjunction with each other. There's not some huge windfall of money coming into the city. We're doing the right things, lowering the rates, and being efficient on these other sides to make it work, and it's not easy. So I just wanted to throw that in there as well.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Thank you.
And then let's go to a vote if we could here. Move along.
Sure, I'll keep it to 30 or 40 minutes.
Go ahead.
Two points I want to bring up. One deals directly with the utilities and a brief history on the utilities, and I want to talk a little bit about property taxes. You know, I guess it was about 30 years or so ago, somebody changed the way we did business. And we found a way to use the utility as a cookie jar. You know, to maybe charge a little bit more money.
Cash flow.
Quiet the chambers, please.
Charge a little bit more money on the utility side so we could generate more money so we could feed the general fund. And what we failed to do was govern very well as a result, because you didn't have to govern. When you got a money tree out back, you just keep upping the rates, upping the rates, upping the rates, because you've got a captive audience. Everybody's got to have utilities, everybody's got to have electric, so you have to pay the bill. So this went on for a number of years, and we created a reputation for ourselves, a deserved reputation, of having some of the highest electric rates on the planet. When I came back to the commission in 2009, I said, this has got to stop. This insanity has got to stop. We cannot continue to do this if this city is going to thrive in the future. And there was a big, at the time, the commission, the big discussion was, well, the guy down here, myself, was a little bit crazy because he was overstating, if you will, the amount of money that was being siphoned off and generated from the utilities to backfill the general fund. And if you look at slide 2012, which doesn't reflect exactly when I came back to the commission in 2009, you'll see the total contribution between the enterprise fund and the utility franchise fee was just about 50%. Just about 50% of the revenue that this city was using to fund the general fund was coming in the form of utilities, which, like I said, fed that really, really bad reputation. So you can see we're weaning that a little bit. We're down to about 44% if you take the two items together, the enterprise funds and the utilities. So we're weaning that for all the good reasons. Now, if you go back to slide, that's on the utility side. Let's go back to the slide number 14, about property taxes. A very interesting comment made last night at the county commission meeting. We were talking about, because the county too had a slight increase as far as the trim process was concerned. And they say, well, if you go back and you look to the height of the housing market, you compare what we're paying today, we're actually paying less taxes today. Even though the millage rate may seem a little high, we're actually paying less dollars in taxes. And if you go back to say, let's say, go to fiscal year '08, 6, 7, and 8, you'll see that the city took in revenues of over $40 million. $40 million. $10 million more than we're talking about today. And a lot of that was due to the overinflated property values. Okay? So here we are. So when we talk about, I know one of the things in this last campaign was, oh, we have the highest taxes on planet Earth. Well, we have a higher tax rate, but we don't have the higher taxes. Okay, you don't put tax rates in the bank, you put dollars in the bank. So you can see that we had unprecedented amounts of money coming in during the height of the housing market, and we have certainly not nearly as much today. So our taxes, while our rate is high, it's almost 9 mils, when we factor in the MSTU, the dollars that we're paying are a little bit less than we were paying, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Boyd, quick.
Just one, Commissioner Maxwell, with all due respect, most of that I agree with, but you did make a statement that I think does not help us out, and it's just flat out not true. You said we had some of the highest electric rates on the planet. In fact, our residential rates for cities in Florida that had their own utility, we were right smack in the middle in the state. We were not the highest on the planet. We were not the highest in Florida. We were right in the middle on residential. On commercial, we were on the high end. That is true. We certainly were not the highest on the planet. Most other countries are paying about 30 cents a kilowatt hour. We're paying on the order 10, 11, 12. They're paying 3 times more. We're nowhere near the highest on the planet. So let's not put out misinformation that's just not factual.
Vice Mayor.
I'll pass.
Okay, let's go, can we get back to the issue, which is approving the millage rate or not approving the millage rate and the budget? We've got to do it in 2 motions, folks. If you'll take a look in your books, you'll find them both. Would anyone like to make a motion on the first, which is item 8A, public hearing?
Mayor,
Yes? Commissioner?
I move to approve resolution 44-2014, which adopts a tentative operating millage rate of 5.4945 for the 2014-15 fiscal year and schedule the second public hearing for 6 p.m. on September 23rd.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. I'll entertain a motion on the second.
Same thing. There's the wording on that. Okay, I move to approve resolution 45-2014 on the first public hearing to adopt proposed fiscal year 2014-2015 annual operating budget of the city of Lake Worth and schedule the second public hearing date at the 6 p.m. on September 23rd, 2014.
Do I have a second? Come on. Really? Wait, really? Do I have a second? No second.
I'll do it.
Thank you. Vice Mayor, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Nay. Motion carries 4-1, Commissioner Amoroso dissenting. Okay, we'll take a quick break and we'll come back for more. Item 8C, when we return.